Couple more acquisitions to talk to you about here, Ty, but these are through the transfer portal for 2022. A lot of help coming for the secondary, and both players right here in the SEC, Latavius Brini and Dwight McGlothern.
Oh, boy. This is what's wild about the portal. And I kept telling people after his visit, I was saying Brini is going to be a hog. He looks really good. This is the difference. I mean, I get it. High school, it's also very difficult. Like, you just never know. We could sit here and say he's a soft commit or whatever. He's a silent commit. Brini, it sounded like, was a silent commit, or possibly at least on the verge of being a soft commit or silent commit. And then the week kind of stretches out, and he was supposed to take a Texas visit over the weekend. And I had people posting stuff and sharing stuff on our Pig Trail Discord about, we don't know if he even took the UT visit, or in my DMs, I had people telling me that. I had text messages from their board saying, we don't know that Brini was ever here. And so Saturday night, the narrative kind of changed on Brini. Something happened. Saturday night, he leaned. All of a sudden, that's all you were starting to hear. The people that I'm fortunate enough to have the ability to talk with were saying something's going on. He went dark with Texas, and now their people are feeling like, their writers rather are starting to, question whether or not he's gonna commit there. Then the following day, he come to find out it's he was on campus on Sunday, yesterday, the 23rd. He was on campus out of nowhere, and that tells you everything you need to know when it's this late in the game. When you want to be here during spring camp, I think today was the deadline, and here he is on campus on the 23rd, and that got verified. And then here comes the hype. Here's all the smoke. Latavius Brini is a Razorback, and so he's going to transfer in from Georgia. He's the only player, I believe, that they have out of the portal that actually, as a high school prospect, he was a 3-star, but in the portal, he's a 4-star. So he's the only player, I believe, that actually went who's trending forward in their star power. Now, I don't know how much to put into, from high school to college, changing their rankings. I get it. It's very fluid. He's had time. I definitely think he's deserving of the 4 stars, when you look at what he achieved at Georgia. But, he's the only player that actually has gone forward in his ranking. So he's a 0.9 4-star in the transfer portal. So he was a big get. Dwight McGlothern, who was a 4-star out of high school, he went up, but not in stars. But he went from a 0.9 4-star out of high school to a 0.91 in the portal from LSU. That was a big get. Another long body. Both him and Brini are 6'2" guys. Drew Sanders, in my opinion, Drew Sanders has been probably the biggest shock this offseason. I had heard nothing about him having interest in Arkansas until all of a sudden he is, and then he commits. Like, it just all happened like that. It was so quick. 5-star linebacker out of high school, commits to Alabama, plays at Alabama, finds his way in the rotation. 6'5", 235-pound frame. I've watched a lot of YouTube stuff on him, and that kid, it feels like you might be losing Morgan and Henry, but you feel like you got a guy that you could plug right in, and he's going to fit that system like a glove. Plus, he's longer, he's a little bit quicker, but he was a big shock. He's a 4-star in the portal. Then Landon Jackson, 6'7", 275-pound defensive end out of LSU. And then, to me, the second biggest shock, which was Jaden Hazelwood, who was a 5-star out of Georgia who committed to Oklahoma out of high school. Another big body receiver. You got to make up for Burks. Why not another 6'3" guy? So that's what they've got in Jaden Hazelwood. Not quite the same player. I think Burks is a freak of nature. We talk about that guy's catch radius and his hand size. It's ridiculous, Mark. But along with his athleticism. But Jaden Hazelwood, when you talk about production, that could be a guy that fills in that spot nicely in the wide receiver depth.
Yeah, Sanders was an original 5-star coming out of high school. 7 games played for the Tide this year, 24 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, picked up a sack as well. So one of those 5 stars that didn't necessarily get into the shuffle early with the Tide and got buried a bit, but still got on the field for some production right there. And yeah, that's a huge get. Obviously, the ceiling is high. McGlothern totaled 32 tackles. He had a pick at LSU last year. And should you say Brini had a productive 2021? Yeah, 8 pass breakups, 2.5 tackles for loss, 38 tackles. And won a national championship along the way. That's not bad. Not too bad to get a guy in the house that's done it and has experienced that and knows what it takes to get one of those rings.
I'll say this, with all the DBs that you've lost with Joseph Fouché, Gregory Brooks, and then Monteric Brown, who's could have come back this year, and he's decided to move on. You feel better about replacing those guys, obviously, right? Because you're not just replacing them with these freshmen who you don't know a lot about. You're actually replacing them with guys who've spent a little bit of time on the field. Dwight McGlothern, like you said, he had a pick. I think that pick went for a pick 6, if I'm not mistaken. And Brini, who had eight passes broken up, well, that's near the top of the SEC. I mean, I think Mo Brown, who had 5 picks on the year, he had 6 pass breakups. So you're bringing guys in who are on one level or another, have at least played in SEC football. So, yeah, you're losing some big-time experience in Gregory Brooks and Fouché, and, they're going to go down to LSU. You may have lost a guy in Andrew Parker who you felt like, yeah, he's gonna be his production is gonna be through the roof. All 3 linebackers at Arkansas, Mark, you and I have talked about this a bit. All 3 were over 100 tackles this year, and Parker's passing that up. That kind of production, maybe going back home down in Louisiana, who knows? But then you're replacing him with Drew Sanders, who also has playing time. So at Alabama, no less, LBU. Let's just call it what it is. Those guys produce linebackers like nothing I've ever seen. It's just kind of ridiculous in this era and modern age of college football. So, yeah, some proven guys. Jaden Hazelwood, who's been a little bit injury prone at Oklahoma, but when he's fully healthy, he could be a production monster. The only one of the group, obviously Landon Jackson, who was a freshman last year. But, man, you talk about a high ceiling. Again, with that long frame, 6'7", 265 pounds, I think, 270, somewhere in there. I feel like he's going to come in and probably, if he doesn't start, he's going to be in the 2 deep if he can stay healthy. That's also been a question for him as well.
McGlothern with the pick 6 against Florida. You're on it, Ty.
Yeah, they love that. That's a rivalry down here in the SEC, LSU and Florida, but they're going to lose him. And they're LSU fans. I did talk to at least one, and they thought they were really kind of hurting over losing Dwight McGlothern. Now, some LSU fans will deny that, as they always do. Anyone does, right? You lose somebody, who cares, whatever. But Dwight, as far as I know, pretty excited for Razorback fans to bring in someone like that.